Welcome back. President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi hailed on Monday the role of security forces in maintaining stability needed to go ahead with the country's development and reform programs. This came in his address to the nation marking the 69th Police Day. The president was speaking during the ceremony held by the Interior Ministry to mark the occasion. More details. President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi attended on Monday the celebration of the 69th Police Day. Ahead of the celebration, President el-Sisi laid a wreath on the Police Martyrs Memorial and headed a meeting of the Supreme National Security Council. During the ceremony, President el-Sisi addressed the nation. In his speech, the president hailed the role of police in the Ismailia battle in 1952, saying that it represented the sacrifice of policemen. He said that policemen protected the national dignity. The president said that we currently in the middle of a battle for development. The president said that with the Egyptian people's support, we managed to move from the phase of maintaining stability to the phase of development. The president said that Egypt is taking steps in its development drive despite the major challenges created by the coronavirus. He noted that for being able to continue with our economic reforms, we need to maintain security and stability. The president pointed that the project to develop the Egyptian villages is expected to be concluded in 3 years and affect the lives of 55 million Egyptians. He said that there is a big role for the Egyptian industrial sector to play in the project to develop the Egyptian rural areas. During the ceremony, the president honored a number of distinguished policemen. Meanwhile, in his speech, Minister of Interior Mahmoud Tawfiq expressed gratitude and appreciation to the police force. He said that the concept of comprehensive national security is a pillar for achieving stability and the common national goals. Tawfiq reiterated that the police will continue sacrificing to preserve Egypt's sovereignty under the leadership of President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi. The minister also asserted that the police shall continue to exert their utmost efforts to protect the country's security and stability. He said that security forces are still facing the desperate attempts by the Brotherhood terrorist organization abroad to undermine the security of the nation. The Interior Ministry also presented a number of documentaries showing security forces' efforts in fighting terrorism, especially in North Sinai. The documentaries also reviewed police achievements in the field of facing crimes and combating the smuggling and trading of drugs. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. That was a call for a last prayer, and we resume this edition of Panorama News. And for an in-depth look into President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi's speech, we are joined over the phone by His Excellency Ambassador Hussein Haridi, former Assistant Foreign Minister. Good day to you, Ambassador Haridi.
Good afternoon, madam.
Ambassador Haridi, good afternoon to you, of course. And the president said that with the Egyptian people's support, we managed to move from the phase of maintaining stability to the phase of development. How vital is the role of security in preserving the nation's drive for development?
Well, first of all, Egypt and the Arab world and the world at large, as a matter of fact, are celebrating today the 10th anniversary of January 25th. 10 years ago, the Egyptian people took to the streets demanding freedom, democracy, and the rule of law. 10 years after, and as you said, the president stressed security and stability as an opening to sustainable development. Of course, in the last 10 years, Egypt has seen many transformations, whether political, economic, social, or constitutional. And today, when we are celebrating the January 25th revolution, we remember with respect and appreciation those who lost their lives in defense of liberty, democracy, and the rule of law. And I believe that all Egyptians today would observe a minute of silence in honor of those who fell in the last 10 years defending Egypt and defending its future. So, of course, today we have to ask ourselves what we have succeeded in accomplishing and what we still have to accomplish in the years to come. Today we stand in awe and respect on the 10th anniversary of the January 25th revolution.
And Ambassador Haridi, how do you see Egypt progressing in the battle against terrorism? If you would tell us briefly.
Well, as a matter of fact, terrorism has become a regional and an international phenomenon. And of course, since 2014 and even before 2014, Egypt has faced and has suffered from terrorism in the last quarter of the 20th century. And in fact, and this is the irony, and the first quarter of the 21st century. And but terrorism should not be an obstacle to development, whether economic or political, madam. So many countries are battling terrorism, but in the meantime, they are on the road of democracy and the rule of law. And I believe that Egypt is on this road.
Yes. Ambassador Hussein Haridi, former Assistant Foreign Minister, thank you very much, Your Excellency, for being with us in this edition of Panorama News. Many thanks to you, Mr. Ambassador. And moving on with our news bulletin, the 25th of January 1952 is the day of a historic clash between Egyptian police forces and the British occupation force in Ismailia battle. It took place when the Egyptian police officers refused to hand over their weapons and evacuate Ismailia Governorate building. The incident left 50 martyrs and 80 injured among Egyptian police officers. The battle was the spark of the revolution that ended the monarchy in Egypt on July 23rd of the same year. A few months before the incident, the armed struggle against the British camps and soldiers culminated, resulting in huge losses. Suppliers abstained from providing food necessary to 80,000 British soldiers. Minister of Health Hala Zayed held a press conference in Ismailia to announce the details of COVID-19 vaccination campaign. The minister said that the campaign will start with the medical teams in the quarantine hospitals who would be given the first dose of Sinopharm jab. Then the second dose will be given after 21 days. More details. Egypt, the Arab world's most populous country, began its mass coronavirus vaccination campaign on Sunday. A doctor and a nurse were the first to receive the Chinese-made Sinopharm jab in Egypt after President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi said that healthcare workers, followed by those suffering from chronic diseases and the elderly, would be first in line. Health Minister Hala Zayed said that all healthcare workers will receive it for free, adding that more than 300 doctors have died of COVID-19 in Egypt. Zayed held a press conference in Ismailia to announce the details of COVID-19 vaccination campaign. She witnessed the first round of vaccinations for medical staff at the Abu Khalifa Isolation Hospital. Zayed inspected all clinics designated to receive the hospital's medical staff. Vaccinations are scheduled to begin in 40 isolation hospitals nationwide belonging to the Ministries of Health and Higher Education. The minister said that the campaign will start with the medical teams in the quarantine hospitals who would be given the first dose of Sinopharm jab. Then the second dose will be given after 21 days. She added that the rest of the medical teams will receive the vaccination successively, pointing that it will be for free and optional. Zayed asserted that people with chronic diseases will have the priority in taking the vaccination after registering in the websites. Zayed said that Cairo had inked deals to receive vaccine shipments from British, Chinese and Russian firms for a total of around 100 million doses, enough for around half of Egypt's population. Egypt reported on Sunday 674 new coronavirus infections, bringing the total number of cases to 126,497 people since the outbreak hit the country in mid-February. The Health Ministry also reported 57 new deaths, bringing the total number of fatalities to 8,959. The ministry added that the number of patients who were discharged from hospitals rose to 126,497 people. The novel coronavirus continued to spread in various countries, with the total case loads in the United States